Kyrgios defeats Tsitsipas 5-7, 6-2, 6-4 in the Halle Open. He punches ticket to the quarterfinals. He's having a really good start of the grass season. He got to the finals of the Stuttgart Open where he lost, or the semifinals where he lost to Andy Murray in a close first set, and then he kind of fell off in the second set. But now to defeat Tsitsipas, who's ranked number 5 or 6 in the world right now, is just another top 10 victory for Nick Kyrgios. And in an interview that just happened not too long ago, he did talk about himself being a really good grass player and saying that he would consider himself top 5, top 10 in the world when it comes to playing in the grass surface. And I would say that he's pretty much right on par. Like his game suits grass really, really well. He has a great serve. He has a lot of his shots are very flat, and it tends to work better in grass. I think he's a good hardcore player too, and he honestly, when he played that one tournament in clay, he did not look bad. He's just a very overall good player. Yesterday when I was watching the game against Tsitsipas, they kept talking about the racket talent, RT, like that Nick Kyrgios has one of the best racket talent on tour. And it's true, man. The things that this guy could do with the racket on the court is just ridiculous. Like some of those winners that he hits with so much pace, so much velocity. You don't see too many players on tour do that, even in the top 10. Maybe like 5 or 6 can generate that much power, even have the confidence to attempt some of those shots. And he looked like he still did some trick shots. Kyrgios did do it behind the back, and he ended up winning that half volley behind the back, which was ridiculous in the third set, I believe, yesterday against Tsitsipas. He's still doing trick shots. He's still entertaining the crowd, but I feel like he's toned it down a little bit. He knows when to pick his spots. The behind the back half volley yesterday, it kind of looked like it was kind of more out of a necessity. Like the ball was kind of behind him. That's why he did it. It doesn't look like Kyrgios is searching out those opportunities as much as he was before. Like he's still very entertaining and probably one of the most entertaining players on court when the rallies is going and when he's berating officials and other stuff. He's just a whole show, but he's still one of the most entertaining players on tour. But I think he's concentrating more on his tennis now, which is good to see. I just wish maybe he would like get his mentals a little bit better. But honestly, that just might be the way he operates. Like, yeah, I get where people are coming from. If you watch the telecast in different channels, different people feel a different type of way. The tennis channel broadcast was kind of like really like going in on Kyrgios and saying that he's distasteful and like that, I forgot who was commentating, but saying that she has some kids that know better and behave better. And if you're watching the tennis TV channel or the ATP channel, then they're kind of more like, okay, like this is the new Kyrgios show. We know what's going on. And yeah, I could see both sides. I could see how it could be distasteful. Like even me, like I like Kyrgios, and even I see him braid officials, or I could see the match going a certain way. I'm like, all right, I could pretty much expect Kyrgios to kind of lash out in the next couple of minutes. Like I could see him teetering, but like that might just be the way he operates. Like especially, I know in tennis, it's a gentleman's sport. Like we're not really used to this. We're not really used to seeing players show that emotion and berate officials and all that. But if I could just tie this whole podcast together and talk about the NBA Finals and Draymond Green. Draymond Green is that type of player where I think in Game 2 he was berating the officials, and he talked after the match saying that he's earned that respect to be able to challenge the refs and talk to them like that. And people were saying that in Game 3 he was gonna get kicked out because he's basically challenging the officials, and he kind of toned it down in Game 3. He didn't attack the officials. He kind of tried to lower his intensity, or not intensity, but like his demeanors and how provocative he is on the court. And he had like the worst game ever for Game 3. So he kind of on his podcast, he kind of says like, oh, I got to be true to myself, and I can't do that. I just got to play how I play and, see how it falls. Like this just might be how Nick Kyrgios, how he operates, how he is. Like he just needs to always be walking that fine line, just like Draymond Green does. Like Draymond Green, if he doesn't walk that fine line where he's about to get a technical or he's about to get kicked out of the game. He might not be the player that he is. He might not be the impactful player that we know Draymond Green is, because when he tries to tone it down, when he tries to be respectful, like he has that Game 3 performance he had in the finals where he's just a non impactful player. But where the comparison ends is that Draymond Green, he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, and he's been a great defensive player, but you wouldn't say he's one of the top 3, top 4, top 10 skilled players or most talented players in the NBA. He kind of needs to have that energy and walk that fine line, because it kind of makes up for the lack of talent or like the lack of full player that he is, and that's the role he plays. He's an impactful player on the team. Whereas Nick Kyrgios is kind of the opposite. He's very talented. He doesn't need to, or you would think that he doesn't need to walk that fine line to get himself up. Like, he's just naturally really good. He's just really, really talented. Like I said, they kept talking about racket talent. He has one of the best racket talent on tour. So you wouldn't think that he needs to walk this fine line where he needs to challenge refs and just get super hyped up and super amped up to be a top player. But that just might be the way he operates. That just might be what, makes everything click. And not everyone's the same. Like, I know a lot of people watch Nick Kyrgios play, and he's like, why is he going so fast? Why is he serving so quick on his second serve right after his first serve? And that's not the conventional way. Like, usually you miss your first serve, you kind of want to concentrate, bounce the ball, really thinking about your second serve so you don't double fault. Nick Kyrgios is the opposite. He misses his first serve, he's already ready for his second one. And for the most part, when he's on, and it doesn't matter if he's shouting at the ref, if he's having like conversations with the crowd, or if he's going super quick. Like, it just works for him. So, you got to take the good with the bad. I get that Nick Kyrgios could be a lot for a lot of people, and he did destroy the bench on the side. So there is things that he needs to control and do better. But I think some of the stuff that he does, it just works. Like, we just accept it. We just accept it for what it is in basketball, for players like Draymond Green. And if I could tie it to soccer, like Pepe for the Real Madrid center back, he always walked that fine line. He was an enforcer. He was that player that had to get in people's faces, and he was intimidating, and that was part of his persona. And we just accept it in other sports, but in tennis, it's a gentleman's sport. It's like, what are you doing? You shouldn't be talking to the ref like that. You shouldn't be doing all this. Well, I mean, why not? It's a sport. It's emotional. I get it. He definitely goes over the line sometimes, but I think sometimes the commentary is just too critical, maybe. But maybe I'm just coming from someone that, goes to soccer games, goes to baseball games, goes to football games, lives in the U.S. Like, this is the type of stuff that I'm used to. And tennis is a gentleman's sport, and I know it has a lot of history of being, you got to be super respectful and just tone everything down. I get it. I get where people are coming from. They want to keep tennis this super, collared sport where everyone's super nice. No one has true, like, real, like, different emotions. Everyone's just kind of robotic. I get that. But I also see where Nick Kyrgios, he loves basketball. He tunes into other sports. He could be like, damn, I like how Draymond Green carries himself. He's an enforcer. He really shows his emotions. He's not black and white. He shows who he is. But obviously, I could also see that Nick Kyrgios sometimes goes too far. But I digress. I think Nick Kyrgios is a great grass player, and he has a chance to, punch his ticket to the semifinals tomorrow when he plays Pablo Carreño, and I think he should be the favorite. Carreño, he's a very consistent player, so we'll see if he's able to give him trouble. But if Nick Kyrgios ends up winning or gets to the finals of the Halle Open, then he might be seeded for Wimbledon, and that'll be good for him, because honestly, he could have a good run in Wimbledon. Obviously, it's a 5-setter instead of a 3-setter, so he would have to keep his cool and his head straight for more than just 2-3 sets, but he might be able to do it. I could definitely see Nick Kyrgios making like a quarterfinals, semifinals runs at Wimbledon.